Devil's Advocate. I'm Ben, and I'm joined by Shawn.
Hello.
Thank you for listening to this straight off. Coming at you, we're going to do Large Hadron Collider today, which it will take us down a Mandela effect rabbit hole, probably.
Yeah, which you're going to explain later on what that means for people that don't understand what that means.
Yeah, I don't go for it personally.
It's a cool idea, though. It's something you kind of mentioned in our last podcast, didn't you? And we talked about it afterwards, and we were like, "This is a really cool idea. Maybe it's worth." It was a joke, wasn't it? You were like, "Maybe we got sucked into like some sort of alternate dimension or timeline."
It's 25 kilometers circumference.
Yeah.
Goes underground, literally through France and Switzerland.
So,
and it's at CERN, which is a nuclear research laboratory staffed to the top minds in the world.
Yeah. So anyone who's too lazy to go on Google and find out what that experiment was for, what was that for?
Oh, they like to smash particles together at light speed.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So it accelerates them round this circle underground.
Yeah.
And it smashes them together. They were looking for the Higgs boson, which was the God particle.
Yeah.
Which now they've kind of found, or suspect they've found.
Not a good idea to call something the God particle, is it?
It's
really?
Like one of the major building blocks of an atom that's always been theorised should be there,
but they couldn't.
They couldn't see it because it's impossibly small.
Yeah.
And it's not until you start firing these particles around this hadron collider that they start hitting each other and breaking off.
Oh, okay.
That is like that should be
That's
there, and there it is.
Yeah. Wasn't there a lot of fear when they were talking about doing this? There was like people trying to protest and stop it because they were afraid that it could cause a black hole.
Yes, it was a big fear amongst some people at the time.
What was the likelihood of that? Do they know what the likelihood of that was?
No, it was pretty slim.
It was like 0.0001.
There's always a chance these things can go wrong.
Yeah. Well, nothing's certain, is it? When it comes to
certain.
Science, but it's highly unlikely.
But then again, science does get it wrong occasionally.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, all our calculations say this will not cause any problems.
Yeah.
But then when they detonated the first hydrogen bomb, Ivy Mike, in the Pacific, they were under the impression that the lithium-7 isotopes wouldn't interact with the explosion and the lithium-6,
and
they did
massively,
and they ended up with a huge explosion.
Yeah.
Even the guys in the bunker X amount of miles away were slightly concerned about it.
They were like, shit.
It was probably brown trousers time in that bunker for a little bit, because they were like, is that coming straight for us? That shouldn't be that big.
So this is proof that science can occasionally miscalculate slightly.
Exactly.
So basically what we're going to talk about today is, although we're both pretty much in agreement that we weren't sucked into a black hole.
We weren't sucked into a black hole, but maybe we went into an alternate timeline.
Yeah, a timeline, or maybe a dimension, or something like that. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
Things have been a bit
crazy,
bit shitty.
So
they seem to have got progressively worse.
Yeah, so the Collider was 2008, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree about 2010 was where things really started to get shit. Every year, every year I remember people were saying next year's going to be better. And it just wasn't. Every year. And I remember same last year, everyone on Facebook, next year's gonna be better.
My year.
2018 was crap, 2019 was awful, but 2020 will be my year.
2020, I'm literally sure I've seen the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse riding through the skies by the house. I'm certain of it.
It's almost end times, isn't it, at the moment? So
there's death.
We've kind of got a bit of a list together of all the crazy sort of shit that's going on. We're probably not going to cover them all, but we're going to go through a few of them.
I can also attest to the fact that life has been shit since Kieran Trippier banged in that 4th-minute free kick against Croatia.
Yeah.
And then they equalised and knocked us out of the World Cup in the semi-finals.
When was this?
A couple of years ago now.
Yeah. It all went wrong from there.
Everything's been shit since then.
Yeah.
Since the 2018 World Cup.
Yeah, you're like, what happened?
It's definitely all gone downhill.
Yeah. It's not been... I was having this conversation with someone the other day, and it's like 2010... is before 2010, so this is when I'd left secondary school, gone into college, and obviously that's kind of the best time of most people's lives anyway, because you don't really have any responsibilities and all you do is drink. But there was nothing really going on in world events back then.
No, I mean, obviously you had the Forever War, the War on Terror, but that was kind of winding down, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't
obviously
invading countries anymore.
It's completely different now. Yeah. It's winding back up again now.
The War on Terror, it's vanished. COVID's taken over. It's like, how come no one's committing terrorist attacks anymore?
That's true, yeah.
What's happened to that?
Yeah, you've got a point. There was all those bridge attacks, wasn't there?
Yeah,
that was last year or the year before. And now nothing because of COVID. It's like...
So even the suicide bombers won't risk COVID.
No, that's how deadly it is.
It's like, well, that doesn't make sense. You'd think they'd have utilised it as a biological threat.
Yeah.
They got someone infected and sent them around coughing over everybody.
Yeah.
You know, that would have...
That's our new way of terrorising people, and the masses. We're just going to get really sick and just walk into public areas.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be.
That's what I'd go for.
Could be. Yeah, that sort of time of my life, I don't know about yours, but I remember, obviously, I wouldn't have kept in sort of news and the world events as much as I do now, but I remember life being pretty calm.
Yeah, I mean, well, I left school in 99.
Yeah.
So I had 2 years of calm before 9/11.
Yeah.
But the late 90s was a fantastic time.
Yeah, yeah.
You could...
Well, I was growing up then.
Yeah.
I was a kid.
I was in college. I went to college.
Yeah.
I started work in 2001,
Yeah.
just before 9/11, because I was at work when I heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
But even then, it was like, well...
Yeah, but
you know,
that's
in all fairness, I'm not going to have to go
Yeah.
and fight this. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is terrible.
But that's the thing though, 9/11 happened and it shook the world because nothing like that had really
No.
happened to that scale. But we're seeing, obviously, maybe not that scale, but we're seeing stuff in the news that's like awful every week, and it's almost like we're desensitized by it, aren't we?
I think so.
It's just like, oh yeah, there's like killer locusts.
Oh, yeah.
That's on the list, and it's just like, that's just a Thursday. Oh, what's that? Mass floodings? That's just a Wednesday. And it's so what's going on?
This last season of Earth has been totally unrealistic.
Yeah, I saw that meme. It's like, yeah, whoever's writing the script this year.
Yeah, I always thought the Game of Thrones guys, because the last season was not good.
Yeah, that's a perfect argument. The things are just going to shit. Game of Thrones just went.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Exactly.
How could you have one of the biggest shows, or if not the biggest show on the planet?
The biggest
You're
show
doing
on the
everything
planet.
right, pretty much, and then the last year, it just doesn't work.
No.
No one can explain it. Everyone's just like, well, we tried our best.
Bad writing.
Yeah.
Right, so what's happened since they turned this on in
Yeah.
2008?
We're going to do
So
it.
we've still got a forever war going on, the war on terror.
Yeah.
People are still... The US, hang on, if I could click your fingers a couple of times, a few seconds in between. There you go, that's how many bombs have just fallen from an American drone.
Jeez. For everyone who doesn't know, Ben can't click his fingers.
No.
That's why I'm the finger clicker in this
That's why
household.
he's the fingerer.
If ever a pretty girl walks past, you're like, quick man, shoot the finger guns for me.
Click your fingers for me.
Hey.
And then I do it.
Yeah, same time, so it looks like you've done it.
Yeah, you know, that's still happening.
Yeah.
Obama, for all his Nobel Peace Prize, killed more civilians than any other US president.
Yeah, we've kind of got a bittersweet relationship with Obama, haven't we? We
Yeah.
think he's a good president. He did well at home, but his foreign policy was a little bit murky, wasn't
A
it?
bit murdery.
Yeah, a bit murdery.
A bit bomby.
Yeah, we prefer him to Trump, don't
Yeah,
we?
I think Trump's actually trying to get his record off him
Yeah.
with those people killed.
Yeah, he's giving it a good go.
Except he's using Americans instead.
Yeah. I don't think he's intentionally doing it. He's just like, oh shit, I let some more of them die. How do I keep letting this happen? He's just like, he's like talking to some like diplomat, a foreign diplomat, and he's just like, I'll be back in a minute, and he comes back and like 6 people have just drowned.
Yeah. Like, why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah, they're just eating soup together, and he just comes back and they're just all face down.
In the soup.
Yeah, why does it keep happening?
They'd rather kill themselves
Yeah, they
than
would.
have a chat with Donny.
Right,
Oh.
let's chip through this list
All
and
right.
have a look.
Alright, so big one is obviously more proof of aliens coming out.
Yeah, you guys did a podcast on this a while back, didn't you?
Yeah, last week it's
Yeah.
out.
Well, it might
it's
not-
out no, it's not out today. Might be out. I think it is out today.
It might not be.
Apocalypse.
Might not be last week though when we upload this.
That's true. Well, recently you'll see it on the feed.
Yeah.
According to the Bull and the Post of Apocalypse, the show I host.
Yeah, we're not sure what order we're going to upload these. That's why.
No, yeah. We did a show on this recently because we were all quite surprised that this wasn't a bigger deal than it should be.
That's what I mean. It's desensitized.
I mean, you know, the US government literally comes out and says, hey,
Yeah.
the stuff that we've got from crashed crafts, we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's not of this earth.
they have
and
this-
that has to be like, well, clearly then, it's proof that someone's sending shit
Yeah,
here.
literally, they have pretty much 100% said that aliens exist. Short of going, this is Dave.
Yeah.
He's from.
And he's just this little grey dude.
Yeah, he's from planet XYZ2.
Yeah.
That's all that they could have done more to have proven. They've literally said, yeah, they exist, and nobody cares.
No, it doesn't seem like anyone's
No,
bothered.
we're so desensitized now. You could literally put it all on the news. It wasn't on the news, was it?
No, I didn't. I don't know. I don't watch live television.
Well, I think it's safe to say it wasn't. wasn't on any of the news stations because nobody cares. We're that desensitized, and that's crazy. But that's meant to be a quite good podcast that you guys have put out, hasn't it? So
of course it's good.
People should
Me
check
talking
that.
about aliens.
You're like, that's my favourite thing to do.
That's my favourite thing.
Did you bring up lizard people?
Possibly.
Possibly.
I don't know.
You're like, I was pretty drunk and high.
Yeah, that's how I do my podcasts.
But yeah, check that out. That'd be good. A good listen.
Yeah. So then we've got natural disasters, we've had floods, we've had Australian bushfires.
Yeah, the bushfire was crazy. Like the whole of
Australia. And in LA as well, they
Yeah,
had them as well.
yeah.
But yeah, the bushfires in Australia were absolutely crazy. Basically, just.
the whole of Australia pretty much burned to the ground and nobody cared.
It was like. But the ecosystem, I mean, they've covered up. They've gone very quiet on that.
Yeah.
There was like. I'm sure they said like 500 million animals dead.
Yeah, they
in
were
those
worried
bushfires.
they were worried that some of the animals might end up being extinct if they
Yeah.
because they lost so many of them.
But it just seems to have.
I literally bought a koala mug to help protect the koalas. Did my part.
Yeah, I did my part. I bought a mug.
Yeah, it says bushfires and 2020 was it when the bushfires were? Yeah, I've lost track of
Not
every-
2019. I think it was last year.
I
wasn't
don't
it?
know.
Yeah.
All these past few years have just blended together of awfulness for me right now. So it says
It's a smorgasbord
it
of
is
misery.
It is, yeah, but it's got a picture of it like a hand painted koala on it. And I
Oh, right.
paid like £4 for it, and I'm like,
I bet the
I
koala,
helped out.
I bet the koalas got like 3 pence out of that.
I bet they did. Yeah,
We had massive flooding in the UK.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It was mad. To be fair, we've kind of had really weird weather in the UK. It's been like really sunny some days, and then we've had like torrential rain. It's like filling up all of like our sort of water sort of reservoirs and rivers and everything. There's flooding everywhere. It's like, and then the next thing we know is like blistering sunshine.
Yeah, it doesn't make
It was
sense.
like 31 degrees the other day.
Oh, yes. You know, things are going wrong. Something's obviously going wrong somewhere.
The planet's dying,
The
probably.
planet's dying. You know, our ecosystem is well at a sink.
Yeah.
Is it because we went onto a parallel timeline?
Yeah.
Maybe in the timeline we're supposed to be on,
Everything's fine.
everything's fine. Everything's just ticking over. Maybe they've taken some environmental legislation and
Yeah. Maybe we're just a copy. Maybe when they turned that on, it just copied it. But we're on the shadow side.
yeah, we're on the shitty side.
Yeah, there's the light side where they literally in like 2012 they were like, right, this was the year everything was supposed to end. So we're all going to sit down and we're going to try and make change for like the whole planet and save this earth. We're going to do more than just take our own shopping bags to the shops and get rid of plastic straws. We're actually going to do a lot more. Whereas here we were just like, nah, that'll do.
Yeah.
Just do away with plastic. Do away with plastic straws, but then double up on the cap on top.
Yeah.
Have you seen that they do that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's the same amount of plastic pretty much. They got rid of that and they were like, oh no, well, we need to make sure it doesn't leak now. Let's put 2 caps on top. 2 plastic caps.
I don't know, when I go to McDonald's I never have a drink. I just get out of the burger instead.
Yeah, it's awful, isn't it?
It is, and the Australian bushfire was horrific in all fairness.
Did you see the photos of it? All the places where the fires were. There's like dots, so many dots on the map. The dots meaning like the red sort of areas.
the thermal footage.
Yeah. And it was like they were everywhere.
Yeah.
It was literally it was like the whole country was just burning to the ground.
Yeah,
It was awful.
There was nothing they could have done. Nothing
No.
they can do about it.
No?
Because the temperature is rising.
Yeah.
And whether people like to admit that or not, it's fact.
Yeah, it is. But there's never been, as far as to my knowledge anyway, there's never been fires to that sort of magnitude in such populated areas.
No, I don't.
Obviously,
think
there has been sort of. I mean,
You have the LA bushfires.
Yeah.
And usually once a year.
Yeah.
Didn't Trump say something about fighting the fire with more fire?
Of course he did. That's his attitude towards everything.
Yeah, this is also a man that wanted to nuke a hurricane. That's what you want, a nuclear hurricane.
To be fair though, I kind of want to know how that plays out. What do you aim for?
I imagine you just drop the nuke straight down the centre of the eye of the storm. I'm
Do you
guessing.
think he sat on it going, yeehaw?
That's how I want to die.
Just swinging his hat around.
That's how I want to die. Riding a H-bomb.
We can't let him do that though, because he'll be like a martyr. Then,
He
wouldn't
won't do that though, will he?
No.
Captain Bone Spurs isn't going to fucking put his life in
No.
danger. So aliens might exist as well, is obviously my favourite one.
I still can't get over that. If that is true, and I haven't done the research on that like you have, but if that's true, how not more people aren't talking about that?
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
it's true. COVID-19 and riots and possible civil war in America. I think there's a very real danger there at a tipping point in America right now.
Yeah.
What with the pandemic and
this is the thing
massive
about,
social unrest.
Yeah. This is the thing about the pandemic is like there's something like crazy about this because only this sort of magnitude of a pandemic only hits like every 100 years, isn't it?
Well, the last one was 2020.
Yeah.
Sorry, 1920. But obviously that was a damn sight more deadly at the moment.
But this could get worse. Like a lot of people are thinking this is winding down now, but we don't know where it's going to go.
No.
It can always get worse, and I think that's always a bit of a boiling pot, isn't it? Because it's like the government.
It's uncertain times.
Yeah, it's uncertain times. Nobody knows what's going on in their life, their jobs.
People are about to lose their home.
Yeah, and then the government then are putting a lot of pressure on people, and nobody likes to be told what to do. And when you've got this kind of government that's saying we're trying to protect you, but it also feels like you're being suppressed as well. So that's going to make people a little bit more agitated, and then we differ in opinions a little bit on everything that's going on in America with all the riots. But one thing we can agree is the Americans are very twitchy with things, aren't they?
They're very excitable.
They're quick to lose their.
Thank you to our American listeners for listening.
Yeah.
Obviously, we love you, but some of your fellow countrymen are quite excitable and quick-fingered with the trigger.
What we'll say is they're passionate people.
Yes.
They're passionate people.
I'm not shouting, I'm just passionate.
Yeah, they're passionate people, they're passionate in their beliefs, and we can respect that because we're the same. But they...
that was Chloe. Chloe snoring.
Chloe snoring, nobody farted. But what we can both agree with is that they are a little bit more excitable than say, a lot of other people.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen... Let's call them Karens.
Yeah, Karens.
on Facebook. I was watching a compilation of videos last night.
Yeah.
And it was just like a 77-year-old woman trying to return something to the shop, and they're like, just put your mask on and we'll...
Yeah.
No, I'm an American. I'm a free American. I'm not wearing a mask.
They lose their damn minds, don't they?
She's like, I want to speak to the manager. She's like, well, okay, you can speak to the manager, but
It's
you're
not
going to
gonna
have to wait
change,
outside unless you put the mask on.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm going to wait right here. And she sat on the floor like a toddler.
Yeah.
And you're like, you are 77 years old.
Yeah.
And you're just having a tantrum because someone's asked you to put a bedcloth over your face.
Yeah. And it's almost like, with that, it's almost like, though, is it because she's an American, or is it because she's just a really old, stuck in her ways person? Or is it a combination of the two?
Well, I think the majority of the people who are making this fuss are of a slightly older age.
Yeah.
And as such, like, oh, I'm a free, it's all about freedom. And it's like, your country's a fucking lie. You're the biggest terrorists on the planet.
Yeah.
Never mind how free you are.
But again, we still love our American
listeners.
Yeah. It's not the people, it is the people in charge.
Yeah.
That is what's causing this. That's something we can both agree on.
And it's misinformation spread online. I mean, you've got all these... I'm a member of many conspiracy sites on Facebook. It's unreal that so many people take their information from YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, here's a doctor.
And they see it's factual.
Here's a doctor. He's saying, hey, stick the mask on, because at least you're not coughing over everybody and spreading the disease. You can have it, and you may not know you've got it.
Yeah.
Right? So be nice to other people, wear the mask. Yeah. But then you've got Dave in his mother's basement on YouTube telling you that there is no virus.
Yeah.
That wearing a mask is slavery.
Yeah.
And we're all going to be all these coronavirus
Which
injections.
is highly insulting to all slaves that have ever existed.
Are going to have, like, chips in them so they can track us.
Yeah.
Oh, they can track us anyway.
Yeah, phones.
Yeah, your mobile phone is the
tracker.
best tracking device ever, and they have put one in everybody's pocket without the need to chip us all.
I'm not being tracked by anyone but the Chinese, because I've got Huawei, so you're being tracked by, like, the English government.
The English Americans.
What good is my information to the Chinese? What are they going to do to me? They're all the way over there.
What they'll do is they'll use the information on your phone to get more shredded and create a bunch of super hench Chinese soldiers.
Yeah.
So when they invade the West,
Yeah.
it's all your fault.
It's all my fault.
Because they'll be hench. That's what I'm going with.
I think you're just jealous of my superior device.
No.
I honestly think when it comes to... Well, obviously, with all the riots going on, again, mine and your opinions differ a little bit. And once everything cools down with that, we probably will put out a podcast about it where we talk about it, because we want to touch on that delicately, don't we? Because it's quite
still
fresh.
happening.
It's quite fresh, yeah. So we're not going to go into that today.
And people are still getting killed.
Yeah, people are being killed on both sides. It's an absolute mess. But one thing we both do agree on is poor leadership.
Yeah.
On on every sort of scale.
On every level. At every level.
Yeah, it's not just Trump. It's lower down, and you know, a lot of it is just because people just don't know what to do. They're just letting stuff happen, and it's much easier to just blame other people than to own up to mistakes.
That's it.
Because that's what it comes down to. A lot of this stuff is boiled to the point where we've been watching videos on it and sharing stuff with each other, and it could end up being a civil war. It could get to that point.
It could do, especially with the election coming up, and let's say that Trump loses and refuses to leave the White House.
Yeah. Well, they tried to impeach him.
Well, they've tried to impeach him, which was probably justified, but...
Yeah, but it didn't take.
No, it didn't take. Well, he was impeached.
Yeah.
But not enough for him to be kicked out.
Exactly, yeah.
And he wouldn't resign.
No, he wouldn't.
But if he does lose the election in November...
Which I don't think he will.
I think he might.
I don't think he will.
The economy's in the toilet now because of COVID, and he doesn't seem to want to do anything about it. And the only thing he had was the economy. Now that's gone.
Yeah, he did. He did improve the economy, but there's not a lot else he did.
Not much. Trump is a capitalist. It's all boom and bust with him.
Yeah,
so you're either doing well or you're skint.
Yeah. Well, in his mind, he thinks that to make a country happy, it just needs to be wealthy, which is only part of the sort of larger issue.
Only if you're the right kind of person.
Exactly.
You know.
So
Trump getting in was a massive shock. I mean, people will look back at this and say, "Wow." One thing that's puzzled me, and we'll count Brexit in with this as well, because they were both the same year.
You thought it was a shock. I didn't think it was a shock, because I thought that the choices between Hillary and Trump, it was almost like, pick the crazy lady who basically wants to start wars, and she's just... I mean, you've been telling me stuff about her sort of crimes she may be involved in.
Yeah,
pick her or pick a buffoon. I'd rather the buffoon. To be fair, if I had to vote, I wouldn't like to vote. I would probably...
Don't think I would have voted.
No, I wouldn't have voted either. But if I had to vote, I would have voted over him over her every day.
I'd have voted for a third party in that
scenario. Was there a third party?
There's always a third party, but they're never going to get in.
No, they're never going to get in. I just would have missed it.
I'd have just made sure that neither of them had my vote, or I wouldn't have bothered voting.
Yeah.
And we'll include Brexit in this, both the same year.
See, Brexit is crazy, though. It's went on for 4 years and nothing's happened.
Still haven't finished. They were both like massive upheavs to the establishment.
Yeah.
The problem was that the establishment orchestrated that up yours.
Yeah.
All the people that want Brexit are rich.
Yeah.
They'll say, "Oh, it's the will of the people."
Not all of them are rich.
Most of them are rich.
Some of them are just
a lot of them are rich.
Some of them are just
all the MPs who want this.
Yeah, the MPs
are the ones who stand to make the money out of it.
Yeah.
And before this was pushed in 2015, 2014, this idea that we should leave.
Yeah.
No one seemed to mention it.
Yeah.
There's the odd fat Tory at the back who might moan and grumble about it.
Yeah.
But they weren't, and that's mainly because they weren't able to line their own pockets as much.
Before Brexit, nobody mentioned the European Union. No. I never had that conversation with anybody.
No,
nobody ever brought it up as a topic. Do you think that us trading in that union is a good idea? Nobody ever brought that up.
No, it was just everything was easier. I have to show.
And then for 4 years,
when I go abroad,
for 4 years, it was the topic of discussion from everybody. For 4 whole years.
Split the country.
Yeah.
So, split the country.
Yeah, so it was a lot of rich people, like you said, but when it comes down to voting, a lot of sort of people voted.
Well, they voted with their feet because the rich people were saying, "Oh, look, we can fund the NHS with this money."
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Now they're trying to privatise the NHS.
Yeah, they're trying to privatise. So it's not going to happen.
No.
We're going to be worse off, and I hope that the people who have lied will be held responsible.
Yeah.
Trump.
I doubt it.
So do I. Trump coined the term fake news.
Yeah.
Mainly to describe everything that he wasn't saying, which was a lie.
Yeah.
So when you think of the amount of people that are just...
I love it when he says...
IQs have dropped sharply in the last few years.
Yeah, I like it when he says fake news and then somebody plays the video back to him.
Yeah.
And he's just like... fake news, and you're like, that's you.
Yeah, you've doctored that. Yeah, he's got Alzheimer's.
It almost is like you said. People are kind of. I wouldn't like to say getting dumber because
it's not getting dumber. They've lost the ability to think critically.
Yeah, and this is the conversation.
They want to be told what to do.
Yeah, this is the conversation I alluded to about phones last time, and I do think it will need to be a topic in the future, as we don't understand the ramifications of being internet and phone addicts. And I think it is desensitizing us to the world, and it's also making us have less sort of conscious thoughts. We're not thinking about the bigger picture anymore.
No.
We're just scrolling on a screen. We're seeing, bushfires in Australia, then we're scrolling past it. And when you have the power to see something that awful, I'm just doing an imaginary scroll in my hand. When you have the power for that, and you can just skip past it and see the next thing, it loses its sort of impact, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It completely loses it. You're just like, that's awful. But here, look, there's killer bees. What was it? Killer
hornets. Murder hornets.
Yeah, murder hornets.
Let's do murder hornets.
Yeah.
Basically, but finish briefly on Trump and Brexit off. They're both seen as being massive upuse.
They will need to be topics of their own, I think, in future.
It's not going to go well.
No.
In terms of Brexit, I don't think.
No.
And Trump, the guy is a racist creep. And he is a racist. He said a lot of racist shit when he thought no one was listening.
Yeah.
He's not a nice man.
He said
I personally think he's the... Slightly off topic. I think that he's the Antichrist.
And you're not even religious.
No, I know. It's bear with me.
Yeah.
You got all these people, especially a lot of hardcore Christians, who are like so behind Trump that he is the saviour, he's the Messiah, he's the first president who's like a religious man, really. Well, he's not.
Yeah.
And he just makes a play. And if you can't see that this guy who's like been married 3 times, had affairs, slept with prostitutes, potentially fucked kids.
He's not a pious man.
He's not exactly the kind of guy you should be looking for spiritual guidance from.
No.
Now, he's pretty sure it says in the book of Revelation that the supporters of the beast will wear his brand upon their forehead.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue that a MAGA cap is pretty much Donald Trump's brand on their forehead.
Yeah.
I mean, and the idea is with the Antichrist as well, that he will deceive everyone into thinking that he's a good, godly man.
Yeah.
Before he just fucks everything up for everybody. So I think that, ironically, the Christians have been taken in by their own... They've been hoisted by their own petard. They've been taken in by their own mythology.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that.
Yeah, we'll do a separate podcast on the kind of Brexit situation, and we'll do one on the sort of Trump. We'll do a Trump one as well.
I mean, also there's a theory that he's a junkie. He snorts Ritalin.
He said he's never drank in his life.
He doesn't drink, but he certainly snorts for kids who can't pay attention.
I know what you're talking about. I can't
got ADHD and they give them drugs to focus.
Yeah.
Apparently he's always snorting that.
Yeah.
Crushing it up, snorting it.
I didn't know
his eyes are like piss holes in the snow sometimes when he does these press conferences.
Yeah.
And that's why he's always stumbling about over his words.
Makes you think he's on something.
Because he's probably on something.
Yeah.
And he's always sniffing.
Yeah.
That's the mark of someone who snorted something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless he's just got really bad sinuses.
Could be.
I don't know.
He's just had like a 10-year cold.
Yeah. Murder hornets. They weren't very well thought out in the overall plot of 2020 because they were like, oh my god, murder hornets.
They just kind of threw them in and they didn't know what to do with them.
They threw them in, they didn't know what to do with them. And
so they were here for like a week and then they just all died.
I never saw one.
No, I think they all just died.
They must have.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it was a badly thought plot point.
Yeah, the writers...
Why put them in if you're not going to develop the idea?
The writers didn't think that through.
No.
If you were going down the religious route, and we could have had plagues, and then we could have had, like, murder hornets in the street attacking the non-believers.
6 foot tall murder hornets.
Yeah.
Beating people with sticks.
Yeah.
And then stinging them.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They just start beating you up. This is what you get, Ben, for not being religious.
Surely this just proves my point. Fuck you, murder hornet.
It's just like, God must be a dick if he's sending you guys to beat me up.
Them murder hornets kind of look like the parademons.
Do they?
From the that's what I'm going for. That's how I'm seeing the tall ones in my head. The parademons from the DC universe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
I don't fancy getting torn apart by one of them.
No.
That would suck.
That literally, if you were ever going to argue like we got pulled into an alternate timeline or something, or some sort of maybe shadow universe with like where it's like a mirror universe and we're on the bad side, it would be murder hornets.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. And where did they go? We captured them and we're weaponizing them.
Oh god, don't say that. All right.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
We
had a massive civil war in Syria that pretty much destabilised a good sort of massive chunk of the Middle East.
Yeah, that was crazy. When we were doing the research...
Rise of ISIS and the Syrian civil war.
Yeah, when we did the research for this, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. It just came out of nowhere.
Chemical warfare.
Yeah.
You know, effectively genocide. I don't know what the figures are for the death toll. I'd imagine it's in the millions.
Massive, yeah, I'd imagine.
Syria turning into a blasted shithole, whereas before it was actually quite a pleasant place to live.
Yeah.
The US and Britain doing their bit and bombing various sides, or profiteering and selling and buying the oil for ISIS. But you know,
not 100% sure on this because we didn't do tons of research. But wasn't it something like the Syrian sort of leader slash, I don't know, dictator. Wasn't he kind of attacking his own people on this?
Well, maybe the first one, but certainly not subsequent ones. They couldn't find any evidence, and we were going to go to fucking war with Syria over this, and then it was like, actually, there's no evidence.
Yeah. But it was implied.
I think it was a false flag myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously the rise of ISIS and radicalised Islam got quite hairy at one point.
Yeah.
They weren't nice boys.
But this is crazy though, because like we've always obviously said, like you said at the beginning, we've always seen terrorism. It's always been a thing, but there was a lot of stuff going on the past few years. A lot of terror. It's crazy, like you've just said though. We haven't seen anything really since COVID,
Yeah.
but there has been a lot of attacks, and it's been worldwide, hasn't it?
Yeah,
everywhere.
Absolutely.
It's scary to think sort of how organised of a thing this has become.
It's global terrorism.
Yeah.
You know, they're bankrolled by some very rich people.
That's what I was leading into. It's almost like, obviously 9/11 was awful. It's almost like now it's more structured, and it's like now they must be getting funding from somewhere.
Well,
you can't help but think maybe some Western sort of diplomats and rich people might be funding this.
The West created ISIS, basically. And also, they've got a lot of money because they had possession of the oil fields, so they were selling the oil to Turkey, who was selling it onto the West.
Yeah.
At one point, ISIS were driving around in a fleet of brand new Toyota Hiluxes.
And this isn't a theory. This is pretty much proven, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's like movies on this about like I can't remember what the film was now, but I watched a movie a couple of years ago, and they were literally what was the name of the film? But they were selling guns and stuff and weapons to terrorists and stuff, and they were like Americans.
Yeah. Is it War Dogs?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, they were like Americans, and they were supplying it, and they were bringing them from America.
Yeah.
And it was heavily implied that the Americans were letting it happen. The American government was letting it happen to continue the war.
If the bad guys are running around them 16 rifles, you can guarantee they've got them from America.
Yeah. And it gives you cause then, doesn't it? It gives you just cause. Oh, well, these guys are now more of a threat, so we can bomb them.
Yeah.
We're allowed to bomb them now. And it's almost like, well, what's the guarantee that you only bomb them and you don't bomb innocent people?
There isn't one. They don't care because
no,
they're brown.
They don't care. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like our strained relationship with Obama a little bit, isn't it? He didn't seem to really care about some of the people he was bombing.
No, they bombed a lot of weddings.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It's like, oh yeah, but there's the head of some terrorist organisation there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there's also like 100 other people.
The Americans always seem to be great at bombing friendlies as well, don't they?
They've definitely got a bit of a thing when it comes to friendly fire.
Yeah, they always end up hitting. It tends to be us sometimes as well.
Yeah. I don't know why.
You'd think we'd be long-standing friends by now.
Well, you'd think that the pilots would be able to recognise a British tank from a fucking Iraqi tank, wouldn't you? There's
like,
quite a lot of difference.
They're like, oh, sorry, mate. And
sorry. Oh, we also shot.
We're just there sipping our tea in the tank. So what the fuck?
Well, I think the first Gulf War, they killed 8 or 9 of our guys, ruled per transporter.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Despite the fact that it had a Union Jack painted on the roof.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, come on, guys.
Yeah.
All right, so so we got mass civil war.
Yep.
The Middle East was on its pretty much destabilised. Yeah. We had an Ebola outbreak in 2014.
Yeah.
That's not fun.
No.
Do you think COVID's bad? That stuff, if Ebola ever gets airborne.
Well, that was the fear, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That Ebola ended up being what basically COVID is. And thankfully, we were able to keep that under control. But it's still a threat now, isn't it?
Yeah. As soon as there's an Ebola outbreak, they're on it they're on it because
it can't get to this point.
If it ever gets airborne, it won't be stay inside. It'll be. And don't go wear a mask when you're you want to go outside. You got to have a full hazmat suit.
Yeah, it's next level, isn't it?
Yeah,
it almost makes you think like they purposely dropped the ball on COVID. They didn't shut anything down.
Well, that was just our own country in America. They wanted the herd immunity.
Yeah, but it's like you could have if it was as bad as they're making it out now. They should have shut down borders instantly. They should have cities shouldn't have been able to leave. Like people shouldn't have been able to leave from a city.
No.
But they didn't shut down anything. People were flying all over the world for weeks.
People are flying out now. I've seen friends on Facebook have gone to Spain.
Yeah.
Well, how come everyone's going on holiday? We're still in the pandemic, aren't we?
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't fancy sitting on an airplane with another 150 people.
Yeah. It is an awful thing, and it's an awful virus, and it's killed a lot of people. It's killed like over 600,000 people, I think.
Yeah, worldwide.
They are literally. It's almost like it's not as bad as they're making us believe because they want to still be able to stay in control the whole time.
They're going to make money.
Yeah.
They want to make money.
They're like, don't do this, but you can still go on holiday.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the one thing we shouldn't be doing because we
Yeah.
don't want it spreading from country to country.
And that's it. The world is like a much smaller place.
Yeah.
I mean, in a day, I can be in Australia. That was a voyage that took like 9 months.
Yeah.
Previously, I
Yeah.
mean, for God's sake, when they had the Olympics in London in like immediately after the Second World War,
Yeah.
like 1946, 1948, I can't remember the date. The Australian team trained on the way over on their boat,
Yeah.
right? Because flying to Australia and back wasn't a thing at the time.
Yeah.
So they literally did all their training on the boat.
On the boat.
So, yeah, we're talking 9 months to get
Yeah.
from one side. No, we can do it in less than a day.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. See,
And that's how this stuff spreads.
all the countries that have got this under control, they have literally put in massively strict sort of rulings, haven't they? Was it New Zealand that was one of the
yeah.
first to get it under control?
As soon as at the first case, right,
Yeah.
lockdown.
Yeah. And they handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
And
Then some Brits went and
yeah,
ruined everything.
I was just about to say then again, because of travel, British people passed it back on.
Yeah.
Because British people can't be told.
No.
They're like, that's it, we're done, no
we
more.
seem to have this weird exceptionalism as well. Like, oh yeah, well I don't have to do that. I'm British.
Yeah,
Like,
we're very stubborn, aren't we?
Let's fucking do it.
Like the Americans are very sort of passionate and hot-headed, and then we're just stubborn. We're like, we're British, we'll do what we want.
Need to learn we're not a fucking world power anymore.
Yeah, we're not, unfortunately.
Another terrible thing that happened. Gangnam Style in 2017.
Yeah,
That was awful.
I had to add that on the list because that's up there with Murder Hornets.
Yeah, that was bad.
The fact that that became a viral sensation, and that everywhere you went, you couldn't go to a party, you couldn't go out to a nightclub, you couldn't go anywhere without fuckers dancing to that shit in mass. That was worth making the list.
Yeah, I think it is because it was a truly awful song.
It was awful, and everyone I knew pretty much knew how to do this stupid dance.
Oh, I didn't.
And I'd be like, surely that took you like an hour at least to memorise all of the moves on that. That's an hour of your life you
I just thought it was just prancing around with your hands up like you're riding a horse.
No, I think there's more to it than that.
Oh, right, I have no idea. I saw the video once and made a mental note never to watch it again.
And to avoid anyone that tried to do it.
Yeah, and to avoid it like the plague.
Yeah.
Avoid it like the Rona.
Yeah.
But
that was considered popular.
Yeah, well, people are idiots.
He was like, wasn't he doing that like dance on like New Year's Eve or something? They had him doing it on like New Year's Eve to the countdown.
And you're like, oh really?
Yeah.
Mind you, he made money out of it. Fair play.
Yeah, he'll be set forever probably.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, sadly.
Yeah.
Another terrible thing, Harambe. This one passed me by. This was like a millennial thing.
Really?
All the millennials seem more upset about this. I was just like, Harambe? What the fuck's that? Oh, it's a gorilla someone shot.
Yeah.
Why did they shoot it? It?
A kid, I think, fell into the enclosure.
Yeah.
And I think that originally, I can't remember now, but I'm pretty sure the gorilla approached the boy and they were afraid the gorilla would attack. So they started panicking, and I think they started throwing stuff at it. And I think it riled up the gorilla, and then he grabbed the kid and started dragging him about the enclosure. It's almost like if they hadn't sort of made him panic, he wouldn't have ran. It's like he was trying to protect the boy, but he was so strong he would have ended up killing the boy. So he was dragging him around the enclosure, I think, trying to keep him safe from people throwing stuff.
Yeah, there's a 3-year-old boy
Yeah.
who's holding him, and the zookeeper shot him.
Yeah.
Because
Harambe didn't understand that he was going to kill the boy if he kept swinging him around the way he was.
basically it was pretty. Everyone said he shouldn't have been shot. He could have tranked him.
Yeah.
Although also, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't fucking let your 3-year-old get into the gorilla enclosure.
Well,
Bad parenting.
this is the thing in zoos, especially in America. There's none of the safety stuff. People fall in the enclosures all the time,
Yeah.
And you see it all the time on Facebook. People falling in the tiger pits.
Yeah.
Or they jump in there to try and commit suicide.
Or have a selfie with them.
Yeah, it's like, why are you not? If you're gonna have, I don't agree with zoos anyway. I don't think you should
I'm
have.
not a fan.
No, I don't think you should have animals in cages. But
only conservation things.
yeah.
I mean, like,
pandas need assistance to stay alive.
If you can found out that panda meat cured cancer, right? They'd find out how to get pandas to breed.
Yeah.
It's because they're so fucking useless.
Yeah.
It's like they can't even fucking have sex properly.
So they're just about keeping them alive, just to keep people happy because everyone loves pandas. But this one, I added this one to the list, and I added it to the list because it is awful. You know, rest in peace, Harambe, because I mean, he shouldn't have been killed because of poor parenting. I mean, I guess they had no choice because there was a little boy in there, but he shouldn't have been killed. That was handled awfully. But I added it to the list because more people cared about that than any of the stuff that's going on right now. And that's why I added it on the list, because it's like people were devastated about that. And it is really sad. I was really sad that he was killed, but people care way more about that than anything else on the list. Terror. Ebola. Nobody really cared about Ebola, to be fair.
No, because it was in Africa.
Yeah, nobody really cared. And that's why I added it to the list, because it is like something like, and this is the problem with phones, is when you see something like that, people can connect to that.
Yeah.
But they can't connect to devastations. Like, nobody cared really about Australia.
You did, you bought a mug.
I bought a mug. Some people did. Some people, there was donation pages and people did help out, and that's wonderful. They donated to the firefighters, they donated to people that like lost their homes, but and also the animals and stuff. But a lot of people didn't care.
No.
A lot of people worldwide did not care. And
No.
it's almost like because they just went, oh, it's just another year. Just another crap year.
I mean, obviously we've had a Hong Kong protests and riots that was going on. That was obviously put to out, and France as well. Remember?
Yeah. There's still stuff going on in Hong Kong now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just not as many people on the streets because obviously of the Rona.
Well, it's stuff like
and
China as well is saying stuff with Hong Kong, aren't they?
Yeah, to see why they're rioting. I wouldn't want to. Hong Kong's quite Western. It was owned by the Brits for like 199 years.
Yeah.
So the Chinese coming in was not popular with the people because they've got quite a Western.
And they want to be in control again.
Yeah, they do. You think, well, what's it matter? Let them have it.
Yeah.
Hashtag me too. The sex offending things. Then this leads into our next point as well.
Yeah.
So we started off in 2017 with Jeffrey Weinstein being the biggest scumbag in Hollywood. And
I hope he's on Hollywood. I fear for the women that live there.
Yeah, that's just up the road from us, Hollingswood. So,
this guy's awful.
Yeah, he is a serial rapist, sexual abuser, sexual predator.
Yeah.
You know, he's now in jail. Yeah. He's obviously ruined a lot of people's lives.
Yeah.
Fair play to anyone that came out and said against him, but there's other names, man. Kevin Spacey, he was like, I can't touch men, I'm gay, I'm not going to sexually use anyone, I'm a homosexual. And you're like,
wasn't one of the boys like 15?
Yeah, I respect you, Kevin, for coming out, but that is not an excuse to touch young kids.
I don't respect him at all. I used to think he was a great actor and a great person. Now I think he's a scumbag.
His career's over.
Yeah. You cannot say, I'm gay, so it's fine. Touching young lads is fine because I'm gay. That's not a get out of jail free card, literally. It's like yeah, I'm joining the LGBTQ or whatever, so it's fine. I can get away with it. It doesn't matter that he was 15. It's like yes, it does matter. We have laws. Stay away from children, you freak.
Of course, that leads us then on to an elite paedophile ring operating at the highest level of government.
Yes.
And probably involving a lot of people at the very top of the pyramid.
Which, as we've already done the Jeffrey Epstein podcast, and we're waiting on more information as like every week.
Yeah.
Some of these names might get dropped any week.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
In fact, they released a load, but there was a lot redacted, funnily enough.
There was, yeah.
For now. For names we knew about. They're going to save their own skin.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised if she survives, Maxwell.
Oh, yeah, she'll die mysteriously.
I'll be very surprised. Or maybe she'll get killed in prison.
Yeah.
But the fact that, the very top of the political part, basically, let's say, Hollywood, politics, world finance, industry, some of the people at the very heads of that may well have been having sex with kids in weird satanic ritual death sacrifice orgies.
Or forcing women to have sex
with them. Or forcing women to have sex with them.
To try and either boost their careers, apparently, or say, just because they're so powerful they think they can get away with it.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. This is crazy, really, because it's almost like we're shining a light on all this corruption and they're still getting away with it.
Of course, I mean, I read today in Britain there was some Tory MP has been done for rape.
Yeah.
He's a former minister, he's still a Tory MP, he's been done for rape.
Yeah.
Turns out that another Tory MP, Jacob Rees-Mogg, who is like head of the House of Commons, knew about this for a month. Didn't say a word.
And is he getting into trouble?
Well, he should do,
but
in theory, but he won't.
See, I've not even heard about this.
Yeah, it's literally just come out today.
Yeah.
That he knew about this. Someone come to him and said that, look, he's raped somebody and the police are investigating him.
Yeah.
Or he's raped somebody and the police are probably closing in on him.
Yeah.
And he's just gone, okay, and not done anything about it for a month.
Wow. That's shocking.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
but that is a man that for some reason people think he's on the side of the working class.
Yeah.
But no, he's an upper class aristocrat who thinks we're all plebs.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a shit about us. He's only interested in making money.
But a lot of people aren't reading up on these people, and that's why they're able to stay in charge.
Yeah.
So
I mean, his sister came out and said the reason that we've got food poverty in this country is because people are buying chips when they should be buying bags of potatoes and making their own chips. It's like, well done. Well, that's hunger solved then. Well done.
Saving the world crisis.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
What world do these people live in?
A comfortable world where they've never had to struggle.
Yes. So yeah, we've had massive sexual harassment and paedophilia sweeping through the elites and the entertainment industry. In fact, Theresa May, our former Prime Minister, said, because she was Home Secretary and launched a massive investigation into Westminster sex rings, she said shortly after all the files were mysteriously shredded, I shit you not, mysteriously shredded, air quotes, she said that paedophilia ran through Britain like Blackpool through a stick of rock.
Fucking hell.
Right, but then she still allowed those things to be shredded accidentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she didn't have as much power as she thought she did, that's why.
No.
To try and bring this to light.
We've got space weapons coming in now.
Yeah, Russia. Russia's apparently put something in space, haven't they?
You're not supposed to have weapons in space.
Yeah. England and America have claimed that they do, though, then they were testing it or something.
Right, I don't know enough. I'm assuming it's some kind of laser weapon, or maybe it launches missiles. I don't know.
Might be something like a rail gun.
Oh.
That'd be cool in space.
Well,
it wouldn't be cool for us. But it's cool.
I mean, it'd be cool if you're the guy that's got your finger on the trigger.
Yeah.
Not so cool if you're the guy on the other end of it. Yeah.
Imagine if you're like an astronaut and you're just like sitting there and they're like, we're sorry, but we're gonna have to fire you, and he's like, not today, bitches. He just jumps in his rail gun. He's like just pointing at Russia. He's like, fire me, will you? Putin would probably survive. He'd just get out of the wreckage, he'd just tear his shirt off.
Oh, Putin, he'd just take the full blunt of it on his chest.
It would just bounce off his pecs, shoot back and just eviscerate the weapon. And he's like, damn, looks like we've got to buy another one. Got to stop destroying things with my pecs.
In Russia, pecs kill you. Ah, yes. One good thing I think has come out after
after all this awful sort of stuff that's happening in the world, we kind of need some good news.
And there is.
Okay.
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
From the Mandalorian series.
Our saviour.
Our Lord and Saviour. Yeah, possibly the cutest thing ever put on a screen.
Yeah, this is like the saving grace. It's like the only thing that's getting me through 2020. Is that damn adorable Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
He is pretty amazing. The show is pretty incredible as well, to be fair.
It was very good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We hope to see more of that.
Yeah.
Are we in a parallel universe? Have we been shifted in? People do seem to think so. It's called the Mandela effect.
Yeah, let's hear what that is.
So not just that everybody has everything's been shit since potentially they turned this on in 2008. It now comes to the point where we might be living in an alternative reality.
Yeah. It's
called the Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Now, all right, and it is really just little details that people are like, hold on.
Yeah.
So all right, Looney Tunes. You remember Looney Tunes?
Yeah.
How did they spell how did they spell Looney Tunes? Looney, Looney. How was Tunes spelled?
Tun.
Yes, you're right. A lot of people will swear blind that it's Toons, Looney Tunes, rather than Looney Tunes.
I think it used.
No,
that's crazy, because it's like now you said that, I'm like, was it spelt that way?
Yeah. Now it has always been Looney Tunes, Tunes.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, nah, that's not right. And if you ask me, I can visualise it coming up on the screen, Toons.
Yeah, so can I.
But
now you've said it.
There you go. All right. Basically, this was coined by a paranormal enthusiast called Fiona Broom, and she discovered she wasn't the only one who wrongly believed Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 80s. Now, a lot of people seem to think he died in prison. He didn't. He was released and became president. So she seemed to recall that on the media coverage of Mandela's funeral and subsequent riots, and that was in 2010 when he was still alive. So it wasn't that she remembered footage from 2013 and mixed up the dates. Who can say?
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem to think that Nelson Mandela died in prison.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't remember that.
I used to think that for a long time. It's only recently that I now think that he didn't die in prison.
Yeah. People remembering
Maybe
periods
that's
of history.
misinformation.
Yeah. The protester who defied the tanks in Tiananmen Square was run over by them.
Yeah.
Some people claim they were taught that in school. He wasn't run over by them.
Yeah.
Let's see, so CERN, they reckon CERN is like called some quantum ripple, the Large Hadron Collider, and we've got these little things that have changed.
That maybe are changing kind of like history.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all remember things slightly differently.
Yeah, even like the Ford badge.
Yeah.
You know, apparently on the F of the Ford badge, there's a little loop on the crossbar.
Yeah.
Right there it is. You can see that, listener, you can go and check it.
Yeah.
That there. People will swear that's never been there before, but it always has been since 1912.
Did it?
It has been since 1912.
Wow.
You know.
I never remembered that loop being there. I remember as a kid walking past Ford cars and I never remember seeing that.
So if you grew up reciting a line in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our trespasses, a lot of people say that it's forgive us our debts.
Oh, okay.
I seem to remember forgive us our trespasses.
I don't know. I wasn't in any religious...
Oh, we had to say that every morning.
Oh, okay.
As a primary school.
Wow.
Yeah. I still remember it now.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist, I still remember the Lord's Prayer.
Do you?
Yeah, still remember it. I'm not going to say it, but I still remember
useful ability for if you ever get captured by any religious people.
And I can bless water.
That's good.
So, you know.
So you are our Lord and Saviour then?
Well, there's a lot of people who could do that, I'd imagine. Apparently it is just different versions favoured by different denominations of the religion. So lazy boys, we have a lazy boy over there, the throne.
Yeah,
a lot of people who say that lazy boys used to be spelled lay, as in Lay, -Z, -boy. And some people say that it's LAZ boy chairs. So lazy boy, lazy boy, without the Y. The Berenstein
It's always been a Y for me.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
The Berenstein Bears, you familiar with those?
No.
You're younger than me. I vaguely remember them. It's a children's book series.
Okay.
But a lot of people think it was the Berenstein Bears. It's actually the Berenstein Bears.
Oh, okay. No, I'd never heard of that.
And although there are press clippings with the Stein ending, it's probably just...
mistype.
A mistype.
Yeah.
A lot of people more familiar with Stein than Stain as the end of names.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots. I mean, there's one with Henry VIII, and in one picture they say he's holding a turkey leg. He used to be holding a turkey leg. Well, no, he isn't. He's never held the turkey leg.
Yeah.
Star Wars. Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
It's not the line.
What is it?
It's no. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
Yeah.
He doesn't say just come out and go, Luke, I am your father.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of people misquote things. And then when they're all talking about laughing and joking, they repeat that misquote. Someone else goes, oh yeah. And then they say that to someone else.
Yeah.
And it goes off like a thread then.
Yeah.
Of misquote, something that's been misquoted.
Yeah.
That's what I go for in terms of the Mandela effect. I think it's just people have got bad memories.
Yeah, and if enough people think about it, it becomes true.
Yeah, and then we get onto Tulpa territory then. If enough people think about it, it becomes real.
Yeah.
Like Slender Man.
Yeah.
Slendy.
Or
so I don't go for the Mandela effect as such. I do genuinely think it's just people misremembering things.
Yeah.
But
so what's your explanation then, do you think, for all this awful stuff that seems to be happening the past sort of 10 years?
Bad stuff always happens.
Yeah.
But it's like in the last sort of, let's say 5.
Yeah.
5-6 years.
Yeah.
That things seem to have just gone absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
We've gone from the prospect of nuclear war with North Korea.
Yeah.
That seemed quite likely at one point. Yeah. Then we were going to get involved with Syria, and that could have gone quite badly. The political system's been turned upon its head.
Yeah.
Corruption seems to be rife, and it's like everyone's kind of given up, and they're just in it for themselves now.
Yeah.
Especially those in charge, leaving but they're so clever at being in charge, is they managed to rope in a significant amount of people of the lower classes who think that these guys are looking out for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they are not.
No.
They are not.
Rarely is anyone looking out for anyone else other than themselves. Or the people in their immediate bubble.
Yeah. So maybe when they turn this Hadron Collider on, maybe something did happen. Maybe we got just shunted onto a parallel timeline.
I quite like that theory. That's why I wanted to do this video. When you said it, I was like, that's a pretty cool theory, and it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's part of me thinks that maybe all the stuff that is happening is just because it's publicised more now.
This is
so,
also
so we have more sort of
yeah.
ways of fight, because like when you watch the news, and neither of us watch the news because obviously we can both agree it's controlled by the rich, so they show us what they want us to see. But a lot of the time, even if they weren't in charge of that, there's not enough time to talk about everything.
It's not even that.
Whereas now you've got it all on your phone, haven't you? Touch of a button.
Twitter is the best thing for breaking news, because literally someone's on the scene, they're filming it and tweeting.
Yeah, so everyone's got a phone, everyone can be a news reporter, and there's information everywhere.
Yeah. I also remember that it's literally the speed of information has changed, whereas before, if there was a murder in Birmingham, that news might not filter over to Telford for a day or two.
Yeah.
You know, now it's instantaneous.
Yeah, so the information...
We are bombarded with information. How much of it is true is a different matter.
That's true. So I think that plays a part, but at the same time, for my entire existence, and I think for your entire existence, I don't think it's ever been this bad in the fact as it has in the sort of, like you said, the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, it has really gone just mental. And it's almost like no one gives a shit anymore.
Yeah. No one cares. It's like,
fuck it. Floods, alright then.
Oh, yeah. Looks like my entire living room's flooded. Oh, well.
Oh, well. What can you do?
I've literally seen people, like, in the floods that we had, they were literally just on canoes. just like, going to each other's houses on canoes, because they're used to it now. It's just like, it's just another week.
This is it.
Yeah.
I mean, it is ridiculous. That's pretty much all I've got.
Yeah, I quite like the theory, and I think that it could hold some weight, to be fair, because it's just never been anything like this.
No,
there really hasn't.
It's like there's an end times feel.
Yeah.
I'm not a religious man. A lot of religious people claim we're in the end times.
I think
they've probably been saying that for a long time.
Eventually, they're going to be right, though. That's the good thing about keep saying it.
If you make enough predictions, eventually you're going to be right.
Yeah, that's their plan.
So if I say, next season Blackburn will be back in the Premiership.
Nah, that's never going to happen.
But it's going to happen at some point.
Nah, it's never going to happen.
It's going to happen at some point.
It's never going to happen. I hope it never happens, just to upset you.
Oh, fuck's sake.
You're like, oh, my heart. Why would you do that to me?
Take this dagger out of my back.
But it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, could be. The weird thing is well that we'd never be able to prove it.
Nah. And they certainly wouldn't tell us at CERN, because they'd be like, don't tell everyone we fucked up and changed the world's timeline.
It's pretty weird though, isn't it, how like about a year or two ago they started speaking loads more about the multiverse theory.
Yeah,
we were like, there might be multiverses, and we might eventually soon be able to go to one.
We're already in one. Get us back to the one we were.
And it's like, how did that? Surely a little snippet of evidence must have come through for them to start talking about. And then obviously there's always been theories, but I think some snippet of evidence has come through, and they're like, we should probably tell them this so that when it does come out, they're not so mad at us.
And we're working really hard to try and put us back.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, there is multiverses, and by the way, we kind of slipped into one. One where there isn't an Earth, and now there is. And we're just missing from ours now.
One theory actually involving Trump was he made a lot of sort of fraudulent claims.
Yeah.
Saying there was terrorist attacks in Sweden when there wasn't, and a couple of other things. And it's like, maybe that... Oh, he could be senile. He probably is senile.
Yeah, he's probably
but that
senile.
could have been timelines rearranging that it happened in...
He got that information.
The previous reality, there was a terrorist attack in Sweden. Yeah. And then in the new reality, there wasn't. Everything else just got worse.
And it recalibrated.
And it took a bit to recalibrate.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's there going, oh yeah, there's terrorist attacks in Sweden, but he's probably lying.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the timelines rearranging.
Yeah.
Maybe he's senile.
Yeah.
Maybe he's just lying. Who knows?
I love the theory, and I'm going to throw this one in there because I'd love to do a podcast at some point, but I'm sure you guys have already done it, but I'd like us to do a version of it. The Matrix. I think we're stuck in the Matrix.
Oh, right.
And they're just resetting it. They are literally just rebooting it, and that's why all this shit's going on.
Well, in the Matrix, it literally gets to 1999, and then it's like everything goes wrong, and they just reboot the Matrix back to 1999, don't they?
Yeah, and that's all they're going to do. It'll get to like 2030, and then they'll just reboot us. Like, oh, it's getting worse, there's viruses, we can't control it, reboot it.
Well, yeah, because I suppose if we fuck things up, we become less happy, therefore more people die, which means we can't produce enough energy for the machines.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, put another batch of humans in and let's reset the system.
Reset it, yeah. That's what they're starting to do now. We're just stuck in the Matrix.
All right, well, we did the movie on Queen of the Bull, so I'm sure we can do the theory behind it.
Yeah, because that would explain a lot as well. It would explain why there's so many leaders that kind of they freeze up. Like, remember that Boris Johnson interview I showed you?
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah, but he's also just a blithering idiot.
That was him glitching. He's just part of the Matrix. And they asked him a question and they hadn't programmed the answer yet, so he just went...
Or he's just a lizard person.
There was a lizard person. Just hadn't had his lizard...
Hadn't had his adrenochrome that day.
His lizard protein.
Hadn't eaten the face of a child that day.
Yeah. Drank the blood of his enemies.
Oh, and on that note...
Yeah.
Let's call it a day.
Yeah, you managed to fit in the lizard person quota.
I'm going to try and do it every episode.
Yeah, you forgot to talk about your penis, though.
We can do that if you like.
No.
Okay.
Also, I forgot to talk about 40k. I thought you would have found a way to get that in. Be like, everything's going to shit, but at least 40k books are pretty good at the moment.
At least in the year 30,000, the Emperor will come along and sort humanity out for a bit.
Yeah, there we go. You found a way. You found a way.
Praise you, immortal God Emperor.
Yeah, he's the only god you want.
Yeah, he is. I want a dude in gold armour who's psychic as fuck,
with
leading
a flame sword.
With a flaming sword, yeah, wouldn't you?
Why did you pick fire?
You like fire, I guess.
You liked fire.
Fire smites demons.
Ah, I see. That doesn't make sense. Surely they should be in control of fire.
Psychic fire.
Ah, it's psychic fire.
Yeah.
That explains everything.
There you go, you see.
You're like, see, there's an answer to everything.
Sci-fi. Anyway, thanks for listening. I've been Ben. Don't drink the Flavour Aid. Don't join a cult.
And I've been Shawn. Thanks for listening. That's it.